boy. Come here. Come here, Truman. Come here, baby. Come here. Okay, so this morning... Okay, so I woke up abruptly at 2:41 a.m. Okay, yeah, 2:41 a.m. And I slept in that bedroom up there, in the front bedroom. And I felt like, well, I thought maybe it was my cat. But all I know is I kind of felt something physical. And if it was my cat, they would eventually jump on the bed. But anyway, I somehow woke up at 2:41 a.m. and I caught an entity lurking around. I don't know if it was Joel or not, but it could have been a different reptilian that gave me an out-of-body experience. But finally, when I went back to sleep, I got my experiences. But I don't really think the entity woke me up. I think I just happened to wake up, and then I felt over here. I felt something like physical, and then I just assumed it was my cat, and then boom! Instantly after I felt something physical. Okay, I always have the cell phone down, facing down. There's no way my cats could have turned this on. No way. And of course I didn't have the alarm on. It was turned off. Totally turned off. Because I only have it on like on work days. Because I use it as an alarm clock. I really don't need an alarm clock, but because I have an internal alarm clock. Psychic alarm clock. But a lot of people have that. Where they can tell themselves to wake up and they will. But I have it just to be on the safe side. But we're not back to work yet. So... it was completely off and face down. And so after I felt something physical at 2:41 a.m., then split second later, I opened my eyes and the phone turned on. It turned on. And like I said, there's no way, even if it was like this, there's no way my cats could have, turned this on because, it would be very hard because the buttons are so tiny. There's no way. But anyway, here's the sound it makes when it turns on. And the entities have done that many times before too. Turned on my little MP3 player thing that I have it somewhere. It's old. Stuff like that's not popular anymore. But yeah, that's what it makes right there. So the entity, I don't know if he did it on purpose or if it's just that when they come lurking around, they mess with electrical stuff, either indirectly or directly. I guess maybe because of their energy or something. But yeah, but I just, at first when I felt something physical, I just assumed it was a cat. But the cat never, like if they get up there on that little table where this is sitting, they normally would always, jump on the bed, and no cat. I think there's only, I don't even know if there were any cats in the bedroom at the time actually, but in the morning, later in the morning, Truman eventually got up on the bed, and Cesar a little later. But at 2:41, I don't think anybody was on the bed at that time. But yeah. Well, and actually, I was asking for an out-of-body experience, and I was asking for some stuff. Okay, and like the astral travel, out-of-body experience of flying and stuff. Okay, so then it took me a while to fall back to sleep. I felt like I couldn't fall back to sleep, but I eventually did. And then, okay, wait a minute. How did it go down? But I don't know if it was Joel that gave me this experience or if it was maybe a different being. Could have been Joel. Okay, so, wait a minute, let me think. How did it go down? Okay, so the first out-of-body experience, so I somehow, fell back to sleep. And I don't know what time it happened, but it was after 2:41 a.m. I started traveling really fast, like my consciousness and everything. Because sometimes they just kind of like take your consciousness, but still, if they plop you down in a virtual reality scenario, you still have your astral body there. And then sometimes they can just take your whole body, your whole astral body out. And then sometimes they just kind of take your astral body out through your head, so to speak. So I was traveling really fast at a high rate of speed. This time, I can't remember if I felt the entity there or not. I don't think I did. but I just kept traveling. Okay, the next thing I know, the alien, which I believe is probably reptilian, plopped me down in a strange, big, huge, I don't know how big the house was, but I was in a big, huge, like, living room. And then there was a TV, and there was a whole bunch of furniture and stuff. Just this big, long, oblong living room, or not oblong, I mean rectangle. Just a big living room. And there was a chair, and I was sitting in it, and then there was a TV. And like I say, there was bunches of furniture and stuff. And wasn't any house I ever been in. And okay, so but and as I was sitting there, I'm like, you know, like, this isn't much of an experience. Well, I don't know. It just seems like I normally get better things, and I don't know why now they give me an experience, and I'm thinking, when I'm in the experience, why is this such a sucky experience? But I guess it really wasn't. But so anyway, there wasn't much to it. But so I was sitting there in the chair. Okay, here's the funny part. And there's one other incident where they've done this, but I'll explain it here in a minute. But okay, so this was like astral travel, out of body experience within an astral travel, out of body experience. Okay, so that was the first time, and then so, you know, I sat down in a chair, and the TV was like it was like let's see, like 6 feet, you know, yeah, 5 feet maybe, 5 feet ahead of me, and it was let's see, about this big. And okay, so anyway, so I was sitting there, and I'm like looking around, and I'm like I knew I was getting an out-of-body experience, but I don't know why I'm always acting like they're, well, I mean, but I used to get better experiences, you know what I'm saying? But it was still a good experience. Okay, so anyway, but now I always question, like, okay, how come I'm in a sucky experience, and they oh yeah, just the other day, an entity, or maybe about a week ago, an entity, I was asking for out-of-body experience, you know, astral travel, and I don't know if I talked about that one. And yeah, an entity took me astral traveling, all right, and that's all it was. And then I'm like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? But that's all it was. It was no virtual reality. Oh yeah, and I somehow knew, I don't know if I talked about that experience, but I somehow knew when I was traveling, I guess the entity told me or something, but I somehow knew I wasn't going to be plopped down in a virtual reality scenario, even when I was traveling. I guess the alien told me that. So that's all it was just astral traveling really fast. And, okay, so this scenario, okay, as I was sitting there, I started looking at the TV, and there was this, I don't know, it was this weird shaped thing. It just looked like maybe it was an asteroid, or it was, what do you call it? It was just this weird shaped thing, kind of twirling like that. Like maybe it was, I'll just say it was either asteroid or space debris. And like the alien was, I guess made me like stare at it. And then he like took me again. And then I started astral traveling again. And I really, this time, man, I astral traveled both times at probably 1,000 miles an hour or 2,000 miles an hour. Okay, so then I end up back at, you know, being plopped down in a virtual reality scenario. Like, I don't know if you took me to the same house or a different house, but I was in a weird house again. It was supposed to be my old house, apparently, but it didn't feel like it or anything or look like it. And, yeah, so then, well, actually, I can't remember if I saw that living room again or not, but I was roaming around a hallway, and I knew there was like 2 bathrooms in the house, and I went to the smaller bathroom to just look around, and I was like, oh, this is a pretty clean bathroom. And then I looked at the toilet, and I saw some urine in it, and then I looked at the sink and noticed how it was kind of dirty with like, it was like toothbrush and shaving cream, and it was kind of dirty. And then I realized, oh, this isn't such a clean bathroom after all. And then I realized, oh, I'm in my stepdad's bathroom, the little bathroom, you know, at the house over there. But in the scenario, it felt like a totally different bathroom, a totally different house. So the second time around, it's like he placed me in a house, but I just was kind of like walking through a hallway, and I went into, and I started observing the bathroom for whatever reason. I don't remember going into a living room or anything during that second experience. But yeah, that was bizarre, but at least I got something. And like I say, I think there's no way my cats could have turned this on. So I'm thinking the entity, I mean, I guess I probably was half asleep. That's why, they could feel kind of more physical. But I felt totally awake when I felt over there. I mean, I thought I was totally awake, and it felt pretty physical. Something felt pretty physical. That was right there, like right near me, either on the little crate or there, right next to the bed. And so that was kind of cool. I guess the entity actually kind of showed up. But like I say, Joel, he would normally do something sexual, but sometimes he doesn't. But like, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So maybe he was wanting to give me or the entity or whatever was wanting to give me the experience right at 2:41, but yet I happened to wake up, and that's why, he knew he couldn't give me the experience right then and there. He had to wait till I fell back to sleep. But yeah, I didn't feel like the entity woke me up. I felt like I just happened to wake up on my own, and maybe because of the sixth sense or whatever, I knew an entity was there or something. But that was weird. That's pretty cool. And but yeah, so that was cool with the TV and the little, I don't know if you call it geometric shape. Maybe you could call it geometric shape. Maybe, I don't know. Is that what they called them? But it just seemed more like kind of like a spirally thing, and it was just kind of like and I don't know if I was thinking. I can't remember if I was thinking, oh, is that an asteroid or a space debris? I can't remember if I was thinking that or not in the scenario, but as I was staring at it, it's like the alien made me stare at it, like to hypnotize me so he could like take me again. But yeah, it was a shape, a twirly thing about that big on the screen of the TV. The TV was that big, and so I was staring at it, and then that's when he took me again, and then we started astral traveling at a high rate of speed. But yeah, it was silver, gray or silver, and it was like that. I know, it's weird. So then, but what I was gonna say was there was one other experience I had like that many years ago well, it was probably more than one female reptilian, but a female reptilian abducted me by way of a UFO for two. It was like a small UFO for two people, me and her. And the way she abducted me was, and I happened to be sleeping on my stomach, which I never do. But back then, I guess I did a little bit. Now, I couldn't even sleep on my stomach at all now. But I did rarely, back then. That was like around 2013 or 2014. I think 2013. And I was asking for an experience with a female reptilian. And so what she did was, so I was sleeping on my stomach. And, I was getting into that perfect brainwave state or whatever early in the morning. And, let's see, let me think. And then she presented her UFO in front of me. And then she made me just like stare at it. And then she just sucked me into her UFO. And that's when we started zipping around the ground. And then we went down into that cave. And that experience is on here on my channel. But, so that was, so this was like the second time they've ever abducted me like that. Where it's kind of like they're showing you something and they're kind of hypnotizing you so they can like suck you out and take your astral body or whatever. So that was pretty cool. Okay, so then, and I know I had some other lucid dreams and stuff, or dreams, I can't remember right now, like several, but the main one that I remember right after these two experiences, it's really clear, after these two out-of-body experiences, went, this is kind of funny, but I went to virtual reality out-of-body experience, lucid dream, and okay, so I was at somebody else's house in a living room. Okay, now this house, it seemed like there was 2 living rooms connected, but a wall was separating both living rooms. And so say that living room is north and this one's south. I was like in the south one, and there was a woman roaming around, and it was her. Either she lived there or it was her house, and she looked, about my age or whatever. And it's like she was my friend, and she was familiar when I was in the scenario, but now that I'm woken up and everything, as far as I remember, I think it was just some person, that I see at the bookstore or something like that, and the aliens just put her in my scenario. I think it was just somebody like that, somebody familiar like that, because it was somebody very familiar, but not somebody I really hang out with in real life. And or actually, she could have been 30s actually, 30s, but she was somebody very familiar, and it was like she was my friend, and I was visiting her, and there could be a lot of parts a lot of little details or at least some of the things and stuff I saw, and as I was looking around and stuff, because it's kind of a lucid dream, but anyway, I remember all the main stuff. Okay, so anyway, so basically it was kind of like I was visiting her in her house. But I don't know if it was her house or the parents' house. Okay, and so she was up fixing drinks and stuff. And well, anyway, so for whatever reason, the alien never, like I said, this wasn't a real good experience. The alien didn't tell me, why the presidents were visiting. The alien didn't tell me that. So, but anyway, so Dick Cheney, came into to the living room. Oh yeah, and there was a couch right there, a couch up against the wall, and I was sitting on the couch. See, I want to know if this is true in real life. If he only drinks tea and not coffee. I tried to do a search, but all I saw was he was bitching about somebody drinking too much coffee. So maybe it's true, because the aliens probably know shit, they know everybody, and they could be giving me information, so that could be true. So anyway, so I was sitting in the chair, I mean on the couch, and I knew the presidents were going to arrive. There's 3 of them. Okay, so Dick Cheney already arrived, and so he sat on the couch with me, but several feet down. And so it was just me, like here's the couch, and then I was sitting here, and then he was sitting there. It was up against the wall like this or whatever, the couch. And okay, that other living room that was separated by, like a door and a wall, I already knew Obama was in there and Bush. I don't remember any other presidents except Bush and Obama, but Dick Cheney isn't a president, but I mean, you know what I mean, vice president, whatever. And so anyway, well, I think now I don't know why he put Obama in the scene and President Bush or whatever, because I didn't have them on the brain. But I did have Dick Cheney on the brain lately because for some reason I was trying to figure out because I know President Clinton had like that pacemaker thing put in his heart, and I knew Dick Cheney did too. I mean, I somehow heard somewhere that he had a full heart transplant. And I didn't know he had a full heart transplant, because that sounds kind of scary. But so I did look it up. So he was on the brain recently, because I looked it up, and it said that he had a full-on heart transplant. Because I thought he just had like a pacemaker dilly bobber, like President Clinton. So apparently he did, I guess. And then it said he had many, many heart attacks in his life, like the first one at age 37. So he was on my brain. And then you could come across a lot of information saying that he's, sadistic and a pervert and everything. So that was on my brain. And now as far as I never saw, as far as I remember, like, I didn't see Obama or Bush. because they were in the other living room, but I already had like visions of what they look like in that other living room. They never came into the other living room. Okay, so here's the funny part. Okay, so as Dick Cheney was like standing there, and I was sitting there, and then the little host, that little 35, 39-year-old host was walking around, my friend, and like she was fixing drinks, and then Dick Cheney said, "I don't like coffee, I want tea." He said he only like drank tea. And so that's, when the host was going to go fix him some tea. And see, I wonder if that's real true, because like I say, the aliens, they know everybody, so if they give me a scenario, they could be giving me true information, about the person or whatever. So, but here's the funny part. And so, like some of these aliens, they're so, like, people are so, like, wrong with them. I mean, some of them are sadistic and very perverted. Well, no, the sadistic ones are just downright. They're the vicious ones. Those are the ones you don't want them showing up. But the other ones are just, some of them are just downright crude and perverted, but not sadistic. But then you have these other ones, and they're just, like, total prudes, you know what I'm saying? And like they don't really give you like hardcore, like they just give you little romance scenarios and blah 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 blah, but they don't make you do a lot of stuff sexually and stuff. Some do though. But okay, so this reptilian that gave me this experience was like a prude or whatever. Okay, so anyway, okay, so Dick Cheney was like, okay, so. Well, okay, first of all, when he sat there the first time, he was several feet away from me. And then at one point, like I say, he stood up and he said he did not like coffee, he just wanted tea. Okay, so then, then the second time he sat back down on the couch, he was just like a couple inches from me. He sat like right by me. Okay, yeah, so he sat right by me. And, I mean, I'm glad, like, the aliens didn't do anything too perverted or anything. But that's what I'm saying, they're so nice. Some of these aliens are like so nice. I mean, yeah, some people I guess I wouldn't mind if, if I liked them or whatever. But this scenario, so he sat just right by me, a couple inches, just right by me, neck and neck. And okay, I thought that's kind of weird because he doesn't even know me. Like, he didn't even know me. And you know what? For whatever reason, I can't remember what color shorts I had on, but I must have had shorts on because he started rubbing my leg. But yeah, he started rubbing my leg, like my left leg, because he was right here. He started rubbing, the left leg, and I was just kind of like, okay, this is kind of weird because he doesn't even know me. So I knew that was weird because that told me, even in the scenario, I'm like, okay, that told me that he was kind of a pervert. So anyway, No, that's all I remember, but I'm sure there were some other little details that I'm forgetting, like as far as what I saw around in the living room. Because I do remember seeing a lot of furniture, but, I'm sure there's some little details I'm forgetting. But as far as I remember, I knew Bush was in the other room, and Obama was in the other room. But, and I just got images in my head what they look like, but they never did come out and show themselves. Dick Cheney did. And like I say, I knew when he sat there right by me and then he started rubbing my leg, I'm like, okay, like, I don't even know him. And that's when I started thinking in my head, it must be true that he's a pervert. Well, I heard he was much more than that, but, I don't know. But yeah, the aliens they could totally, lie and shit. So you don't really know if it's I've been asking the aliens to take me down in like fucking the White House basement, shit like that, fucking the 9th floor of Dulce, New Mexico and shit. But they haven't done anything like that as of yet. But the aliens could do anything. So if they want you to think that President Trump, murdered 5 people in the basement of the White House, you know, what did I just say? Okay, if the aliens wanted you to think that, they could totally place you in the basement of the White House. And, I mean, it's completely virtual reality, totally real, feeling and looking. And so after you wake up, naturally you're going to think he really murdered those 5 people. But I know, well, you know, I know what their capabilities are, so I'm not going to believe it. I mean, if they show me something like that, which they would never would, because that's not their thing to show me shit like that. Like, I wouldn't believe it, you know, because I just know, you know, from other people and stuff, you know, I know that they can lie and shit, so, but yeah, I have asked them to take me down, you know, just to see if I see any, but not no freaking, like, virtual reality. I'm talking, like, I've been trying to ask the aliens to freaking take me out of body, to start taking me, like, out of body and placing me, because they've done this before, back in 2004, many times. And now they just take me to fake virtual reality scenarios that feel like 3D and everything, but aren't. And, you know, like to take me out of body, take me to, you know, Washington, D.C., White House, whatever, in real-time 3D. You know, so like if I'm, 7 o'clock a.m. in the morning, I go back to sleep finally at 8 a.m., or a split second, they can take me out of body. Because there should be people roaming around the White House at that time, you know, 8 a.m., some, I don't know, agents or something. And they could do that if they want to, because I know they've done that many times before. Now, at least 3 or 4 times, back in 2004, where I knew the difference. I knew the difference. Like, I knew when I was in another dimension that they created for me, and I knew when I was, like, in real-time 3D, out of body. But it's still, who knows, it still could have been fake. They could have just made me think that. But what was I going to say? But yeah, what was I going to say? Something about, but yeah, that one experience, the little gray bean that stood right by me back in 2014, and he took me to the NSA building in Washington, D.C. Like, I mean, like, I knew that wasn't in real-time 3D, but it felt, I mean, it seemed like it and everything. I mean, it was so real. It was so real. I mean, but I knew it wasn't. I knew it wasn't. I knew it was virtual reality. And it wasn't in real-time 3D. But, yeah, so, but anyway, so that was my cool experiences. And that was this morning, sometime after 2:41 a.m. But yeah, I'll probably get some more experiences. But yeah, I probably won't go to bed till about 12:15. Because otherwise, I feel like shit. If I get too much out of whack and try to go to bed at 1 a.m. or later, I feel like shit all day the next day. So I can't go to bed past like 12:15. Thanks for listening.